Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel Air Care Driveline, and I am currently sitting at the Prime Terminal. I did not go to the safety meeting. Haven't watched one of those or attended one of those for a long time, but I did go into the terminal right before the safety meeting was about to kick off because I had to ship some packages and take care of some things in the terminal. Use some points to get some hoodies and stuff like that. And right now I'm waiting on the tire trailer to get here so I can go tire shopping. I need a tire and I refuse to buy a brand new tire. So the tire trailer should already been here. I'm kind of sitting here watching for when it arrives so I can go shop out what tire I want, because I only buy used tires, as you guys know. Had a recall issue I had to deal with on the truck and needed to get my APU serviced. So I'm just trying to knock out a bunch of stuff like that. Now, I just came off of the strongest week for my trucks this year. Unbelievable week. And I don't want to get too much into his business, but I'll tell you that the dude who drives my Peterbilt just had the biggest check that he's gotten, I think, this year. I'm not going to give you any particulars on that, but I mean, it was like just unbelievable week. In fact, freight has been so good for me and my trucks that I could go home right now, but I'm not going to, because I feel like right now is the time to just run and gun, before the holidays and before winter. If it's going to stay strong like this for the next few weeks, then I'm just going to keep running it, because it's been nothing but pre-plans. And you guys know I don't necessarily really like them to pre-plan me. I kind of like to do my own thing. But I've been pre-planned on damn near every load that before I've delivered. I've been pre-planned. So has my Peterbilt. So freight, to me, and I'm hearing this from a lot of other drivers, I'm hearing more positivity from other Prime drivers than I'm hearing about struggles. And has not been the case for most of this year. That's not to say that there aren't drivers who aren't kind of in the vibe right now, in the groove, in the matrix, as Lyle would say. But this is just, I think, the first time of the year where the feedback I'm getting is more positive than it has been negative. Now, that's not to say that we're not like at the revenue levels at Prime that we should be at in terms of inflation and the rising cost of everything involved in running a truck with Prime. It's not to say that we're in that scenario, but we are in a scenario, I feel, where freight is the capacity to volume that they've got. It seems like they've kind of figured that out, at least to me. There was a mosquito in here. I can't tolerate that. It seems like they kind of figured they've got that going for them, where they've got a good match of number of trucks for the amount of freight that they have, and it's keeping us all busy and loaded and moving. The vibe around the terminal is pretty dang positive. I've talked to multiple drivers. Really cool, man. I just had an amazing. Let me see if I can show you guys this picture. If this guy wasn't in a hurry, I would have done a video about his truck. I don't know if this is going to translate, but if you got to pause it and take a look at this setup. Now, just really take a look at what's going on right there. So he's got this rig over here that he bought all this stuff at Home Depot and used that to replace where his load lock rack is. And he's got an airline spool that he hasn't yet run in through his airline. We were talking about that. And I was like, dude, the idea of having an airline spool right there where you could run it into your air system and then have a valve down at the bottom and just turn that thing on. Now, I know it can create potential weak points with air leaks and stuff like that, but if it's all done right, then you shouldn't have to. It's only 2 additional connections. You'd have a connection, you'd add an additional connection at the T, and then you'd have that connection where the valve is. But to always have air, right, and have it spooled up, that was amazing. He's got the extra tank there. That is a gas can. I assume that's not unleaded gas, but it probably should be a yellow can, but whatever. And then he's got the modified load lock bar with his Starlink on top of it. The thing that I would add, I don't have Starlink. I have T-Mobile home internet on my truck, and it's blazing fast, and I have there's very few times where I don't have extremely fast internet via T-Mobile home internet. But the thing that I would add is a transfer pump that runs off, that connects to the chassis and runs its power off the chassis, where I wouldn't even bother with a diesel can. I would just run a transfer pump to where I could keep reefers fueled in a pinch, you know what I mean? But I thought that was really interesting. But anyway, I was talking with him about freight and about his whole setup and some of the things he wants to do with his truck, his inverter, just all kinds of stuff. But I was up at 2 o'clock this morning in terminal talking with multiple people. Someone came and knocked on my door yesterday. We had a good chat about freight. I'm just telling you guys, the whole point of this is that maybe not for all of you, but you will notice that there is far less talk about prime freight being bad right now online and on social media and around the terminal. There is not a lot of that talk right now. I think everybody has plenty to eat. Maybe not in terms of rates, but in terms of volume, the amount of loads, the consistency of loads, the ability to stay loaded, pretty damn good right now. And I've made more money in the last 2 to 3 weeks than I previous to going home for 30 days would have made in a month. So it's just like I'm motivated to just keep going. So I'm going to get my stuff done here and get back out there on the road and keep running freight for a couple weeks. Had a birthday pass. My birthday was October 13th, and it was a suboptimal birthday. Not that I really celebrate birthdays, but man, I had to drive into Chicago for a delivery that Monday morning. I believe it was Monday morning during rush hour. Then had 7 hours of detention. So that was how I spent my birthday, but it didn't matter. I was making money. That's the cool thing. And then I've been working on some other stuff. I've got, as I had mentioned, Club 34 on the channel is converting to something different. I think I've mentioned this in the past. But I've got this really good system that I'm almost done with that's a part of something much bigger, that's pulling actively through API endpoints, pulling data into a dashboard that I've custom built that is giving me both a regional and a national, lower 48 look at reefer rates on a weekly basis and a rolling average, dry van and flatbed rates. And then I have my own dashboard with some drivers that I'm going to begin testing that's going to give us a paid to truck rates, because those national rates that I'm pulling data from are paid to the carrier. So, you kind of, when you see those rates out there, you kind of take them with a grain of salt, or you have to understand what those rates means. That's the rate, that's usually the rates the shipper is paying to have their stuff shipped. That is not the rates usually that the truck is getting, be that on the spot market, through a broker, or through a carrier or something like that. That's the rates being paid. So I'm taking all that data that's coming in, and I want to marry and merge that with data that I'm going to have through some drivers that will help me ascertain a better look at what the average actually is being paid to trucks for each of the divisions. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to take a lot of work. I've been putting an enormous amount of time into that, and that's a part of a dashboard and something that I'm building that's much bigger. That's going to be really cool. So that's something I've been working on, and it's just been busy, man. I've just like I don't not work. I'm either sleeping or working. I'm sleeping and trucking, or sleeping and working if I'm on other stuff if I'm not trucking. So I'm just staying busy and productive, and I just feel like it's a very productive, optimistic time. And that's something that I haven't felt for a while, if I'm being honest. I know there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. There's a lot of BS and a lot of crap that's happening out there. But just generally in terms of the freight business, now the freight market, unfortunately, as a greater picture at a 30,000 foot view, is not good. The economy, not good. Not good. There's some good things, certain prices of things are kind of coming a little bit under control and not continuing to skyrocket. Doesn't mean they're actually going down, but there's kind of a hold on keeping pricing from skyrocketing on things we buy and normally use. That's good, but generally speaking, the economy, especially as it pertains to the freight business, not good. I know I have a lot of friends in the freight industry, not just Prime, well beyond Prime, and there's not really a lot of good news out there. But I'm here to tell you that within the Prime world, and of course my relationship with Prime is strictly business, unfortunately. It's not like it used to be, and I think most drivers would agree that that's kind of our scenario out here, but it is what it is. But in terms of that business to business relationship with Prime, it's pretty damn good. All things considered, where the rest of the freight market is and what we've just gone through over the last year and a half, couple years, it's good. It's good right now. Doesn't mean it'll be good a month from now, but it's good right now. So that's kind of where we're at. What else? There's, I got all kinds of other things to talk about. It's just been busy, dudes. Busy. Like busy. Which I guess is a good thing. If I'm sitting around a lot and not doing much, which I have been parked for a couple days, just getting things taken care of, getting a truck fixed, and back up to par. That's part of the gig, but I've stayed busy during that time too. But if I'm sitting and not doing much, then it's not good. I don't want to be out here on the road if I'm not busy moving freight or busy being productive and generating revenue and income for the house. There's no point in being out here. Right now, that is rewarding. In other news, I'm coming up on my 1,000,000 miles. I'm stoked about that. Super stoked about that. And I know there was a veterans banquet and like a 14-year banquet or something like that the other night. So there's a lot of veteran drivers, both in terms of actually served veterans, and veteran drivers in terms of their history driving for Prime. A lot here right now. A lot. And someone got a good load, by the way. The load I brought here was going to Los Lunas, New Mexico, and it was paying $2.25 off the yard going to Los Lunas. And it only weighed 23,000 pounds. So I gave somebody a great load. Whoever got that load, you're welcome. I was half tempted to run it, but I had appointments and stuff that I needed to get taken care of. So anyway, guys, that's it for this one. I'm probably potentially gonna do a live this evening, which would be Friday evening. You might see this video after that, but if I do, watch for that alert. If you guys are around on Friday evening, I might try to do one Saturday as well. We got major storms coming through here through the Midwest, hail, like 60, 70 mile per hour winds. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But anyway, that's it for now. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me know in the comments about how your freight experience is right now, especially if you drive for Prime. You guys be safe, make good decisions, always drive, thrive. I'll talk to you soon.